What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today is November the 6th. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is focusing on today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently, futures are green. So Dow is up 0.18, S&P up 0.31, NASDAQ up 0.25. We did get challenger job cuts early this morning. Came in not the greatest, so came in at 153, forecast of 73. So that does signal that a lot of American companies are intending on cutting jobs down the line. I guess I could see how essentially the market might take this as inversely a positive, only because the market does want negative labor data to justify rate cuts. So this one I think might be just do the right job, push the market up a little bit higher. Currently though, fear and greed index is under the extreme fear category. Given the momentum in the market, it is fair to assume that we will be moving to the fear category, so moving up a little bit, meaning people's appetite for risk is going to be increasing. These are some of the companies that is putting out their earnings today. So we just had OSCR Health, AMC after hours yesterday, Robinhood as well. So a lot of big speculative names, some of which I'm bringing up because clearly big money likes the earnings. So stay tuned for that. Getting right to the first stock, SoFi. It is up 0.4. Nothing really crazy today. It's just piggybacking off the broader market. No news, no SEC filing so far today. So again, it's just piggybacking off the market. 8.35% of the free float is being shorted. Shorts really haven't done that much. And given just what SoFi has been doing and everything else, it is fair to assume that shorts will continue to return, most likely for at least the foreseeable future, where it's not even that big of a deal. They don't make up, like I think currently they make up about 25-30% of the daily volume. Back in the day, it used to be like 50-60%. So they have been slowly exiting. So I feel like over the next couple of quarters, this will go back possibly to 5%. But aside from that, 98.8% of the free float is being shorted. With it at 30.19, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 30.25 is going to be that key kind of pivot for today. So just watch for it to ideally close above that. 28.69 is going to be a strong support. I don't see that being on the table. And then 31.80 is going to be the next round target. So for today, just watch for that 30.25. NIO is kind of moving higher. This stock has been very interesting. Like every single data point does signal that it really wants to move higher. Just we've been experiencing lower volume, and NIO is somewhat heavily shorted. And so right now, 10.49% of the free float is being shorted. So shorts do still make up for a good chunk of the daily volume, but they kind of manipulate it quite a lot. I know a lot of people, including myself, say that a lot with NIO, but it is the honest truth. And I think it's just because of it being a Chinese company and ADR, that this is why it doesn't get as much institutional attention as it probably should. But nonetheless, 10.49% of the free float is being shorted. During the pre-market, shorts are returning just about 2,000 shares almost. So they aren't really doing anything, so that's kind of a good thing, I guess. Right now with a 739, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 732 and 714 is going to be support levels. So that's if you're swing trading, day trading, just kind of watch for those. And then 744 followed by 762. I don't really see that 762 potentially on the table today, maybe over the next couple of trading days. One thing as well to take note of is that most likely NIO will be announcing the date of their upcoming earnings sometime this week. And normally every time that does happen, it causes some level of FOMO. I don't know why. Just putting out news, just something clicks in investors' heads and just says, hey, you know what? I need to buy now. So kind of crazy, but nonetheless, moving on from here, OSCR Health, they did surprisingly miss on a lot of their top and bottom line for their earnings. So they just had their earnings this morning, but it is moving higher. So most likely the future guidance is fairly good. And I think the conference is actually on exactly right now, but 16.67% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 34,000 shares. I do own quite a lot of OSCR Health. I really like what they're doing, their expansion. It's in a good sector. Shorts right now are returning about 5,000 shares. So I definitely do feel that this is a good potential buying opportunity despite the double miss. And so yeah, it is what it is, but it kind of as well does signal, because not just Oscar Health, but there's a couple of other companies that didn't have the best earnings, but they're still essentially moving higher. So I feel like the market realized that it was a little bit too overly critical on, for instance, Palantir and a couple other stocks, which kind of spread across the board. So I feel like now Wall Street just eased up. Maybe that's a positive thing, maybe it's a negative thing. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that interpretation. But right now, with at 1806, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 1765 and then 1707 is going to be support levels. 1860 and then 1955 is going to be the next round target / resistance. Normally on a daily basis, shorts do make up for a good chunk of the volume, but given the amount of volume that I can see so far during the pre-market, institutions are getting in. So that's kind of a good thing. Opendoor, so they are up 3.04%, piggybacking off the broader market. Plus, they do have their earnings coming out after hours today. So that is going to be a good thing, even though I feel like top and bottom line won't be that relevant, and Wall Street most likely will overlook it because of the CEO change that recently did happen during that same time frame. But it's going to be the future guidance. That's what Wall Street will really care about in Opendoor's case. And right now, 21.8% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 154.6 million shares overall being shorted. Shorts are returning just about 30,000 shares, 29,000 shares. So still, they're not really doing too much. Right now, with it at 744, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 657 and then 790 is going to be the key points. So in the other cases, the other stocks, I brought up the 4-hour chart. This one is the 1 day. Only reason being is post earnings. That way, most likely it'll be touching in reality this high end of this pivot, or potentially sub this S1. So you're going to see some volatility, and I think in general this will be a hot one for throughout the whole day as people try to speculate on earnings. And then last but not least, Snapchat. So this, or Snap, I guess, this stock, very interesting. It does go back to the whole, it trades between $8 to $12 round, like rinse and repeat. So it is getting back to that $8 range. It is up about 20%. So definitely good earnings. And yeah, I've never personally been a big fan of Snap. Every time it has spiked, I've always shorted it. I don't believe 2025 I've done really anything with it though. Haven't really went long or short, but definitely you can see how very predictable the chart is. It goes down to that $7 range and then it bounces. $7 range, bounces. So I feel like today might be a good liquidation day possibly, or it might continue to around that kind of $10 range, but nonetheless, their earnings is the reason why they are moving higher. Shorts are increasing about 100,000 shares. 7.33% of the free float is being shorted. So shorts clearly did anticipate that maybe their earnings was going to be positive, because for the last, since September, beginning of September, they've been returning quite a lot. So maybe they foresaw something happening and whatever else. This isn't a squeeze play. On a side note, none of the stocks actually I brought up are squeeze plays, but 80.27 million shares overall are being shorted. And then in many of the cases, if you like diving deep into data, for instance, look at the short score. So 40 or 0.53 is that short score. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. With it right now at 880, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. 859 and then 805 is going to be support levels. 892 and then 945 is going to be the next round target / resistance points. This one, actually all of them are going to be pretty good day trades. So just kind of take a mental note of a lot of the support and resistance points, but today should be a pretty good day. Let me know your thoughts on kind of these stocks. Is there any other stocks that's floating your boat? And then one final thing, I did always mention about my Patreon where I put out buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. I am just moving to stacked, and so I'm doing a promo. I'm doing a promo for only 48 hours, so about 24 hours left. If you sign up, it is only for $1. So definitely reduced that significantly. And then once the remaining 24 hours does close, I will be closing this. No new members can join, and then it'll go back to revert back to the old price. So yeah, if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, definitely pop over there. Just launched this, so definitely take a look at that. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.